February 1st, 2011. Grandson. Last year, I was gifted with my first grandson. My daughter, Megumi, one day told me that she's pregnant, which was a big news to be celebrated and shared. But she didn't seem so happy. She was suffering from severe morning sickness, which seemed to be harder than she's ever imagined. She lost all her appetite for food. She often returned home halfway from her commuting to her office. She seems to be exhausted and lost her weight. Being uneasy and worried, my wife invited her to stay with us, leaving her home and husband behind for a month before the due date. As the due date came near, my wife told me not to go golfing away, as I'm expected to drive her to the maternity clinic at any time when her labor pain begins. This is the offer I can't refuse. I gave up golfing out and stayed home, ready to take a chauffeur's role at her command. A few days after the expected due date, I was called in to my designated duty in the morning. In the evening, a news came out that my first grandson came into the world. He's been named Junon, and he's the best gift my daughter could ever give to my wife and me. A baby, especially human baby, needs lots of care and attention all times. So Meg and Junon stayed at her home for another month, and her husband came to visit us on every weekend. There's a few occasions when I was asked to watch and take care of Junon when my wife and Meg were occupied with other chores. I hold him in my arms and try to lay him down on the bed, but each time I leave him on the mat, Junon somehow noticed a change and began to cry. There's no other choice but holding him in my arms and sit on the sofa. I can do nothing else but just holding Junon and not trying anything to disturb his peace and comfort. It's true that nobody can beat and win a crying baby. Time passes by while I'm sitting on the sofa, not reading a book nor listening to music, just doing nothing. Is this a waste of time? I remember what my mother, who's 98 years old, told me when I was a child. She's given birth to me when the war was raging and the foods were scarce. She couldn't feed me from her own breast, but to borrow milk from her family friends, who warned that this baby boy needs much more milk to survive. Well, somehow I've survived. My educational crazy mom told me, don't waste your time, as your time is given by courtesy of many friends. So in my youth, I tried not to waste any time in my control. Now, getting back to reality, I'm sitting on the sofa with my silent grandson in my arms for over an hour doing nothing. However, I'm not feeling guilty of doing nothing. Rather, I'm feeling happy, somehow very happy. What is this feeling all about? Where does it come from? They say all animals die when they are done with their reproduction instinct. You remember, salmon fish return to the original river only to mate and leave their fertile eggs behind, and they are dead soon afterwards. Having a grandson gives me sense of satisfaction that my natural reproduction obligation is happily over, and that my instinctive duty is well performed. Great novelist Goethe wrote in his book Faust that "Stop the time, you are beautiful." When did Faust feel this way? It must be the time when Faust held his grandson in his arms. God created our life beautifully. Having a grandson tells you that your main chapter is over and your epilogue has started. You've got nothing to struggle to achieve anymore. This sense of accomplishment gives you a peace of mind in the autumn of your life. Thank you, Junon and Meg, to make me feel this way.